So Max, you've been with NOAH for quite a while. So maybe tell me about your first experience at NOAH.
Yeah, that's right. So I think it's my 10th year at NOAH, and obviously a lot of things changed, and so very grateful that the topic of this NOAH is digital, sustainable, and profitable, because when I started NOAH, it was only profitability, and so I'm very happy that this is now in the heart of the conference, and I think also the society changed a lot, right, in terms of sustainability. And I think it's very fascinating to see also the various speeches and also how they can change things. But I believe, honestly, that every industry, it doesn't matter in which industry you are operating, sustainability is everywhere, and you can improve every industry.
So before we go into how maybe the fintech world and then specifically Fraugster touches this, I think for the audience it would be good to understand what is Fraugster doing, what are you doing in your, what problem do you solve? Let's put it this way.
Yeah, definitely. So Fraugster at the end is a payment intelligence company that has at the end two goals, right? To minimize the risk and fraud and to maximize the revenues of our customers. And when I'm talking about our customers, so we're serving large e-commerce merchants around the globe, but also payment companies. And also talking about the problem, I mean, at the end, I mean, we're using AI technologies to solve a $1 trillion problem because at the end, I mean, on average, an online merchant is losing around 1.5% of their annual revenue to fraud, which is around 250 billion losses every year. And this is obviously a very significant problem that every merchant is facing. However, every merchant is doing something against these 250 billion losses, right? And while doing something here, they create a much bigger problem, what we call the false positives. And false positive transactions are genuine transactions that are getting wrongly blocked. And probably all of you experienced that at a time.
It's a nightmare, right?
It is a nightmare.
You check out with Visa and then you...
Especially since 1st of Jan, when you have the PSD2 regulation, when you have the two-tier authentication, and it's not just a nightmare for the customer, but also for the merchant, because think about you're a merchant and you acquire for 40, 50, 60 euros a customer, and then he chooses the right product, goes to the checkout process, clicks on buy. And then and actually this is 500 billion US dollar in lost revenues, and that's huge, right? So and last but not least, it's just compliance, right? Which is another 250 billion. But at the end, I mean, our sustainability is okay. We fight against criminals, against bad people, because merchants are losing a lot of business there.
Yeah, I think there are two aspects that are super interesting. One, as you mentioned, is this thinking about fraud less in terms of, okay, how can I fight the bad guys, but actually how can I increase the revenue upside? So I think you explained that. But I think there's another element to the Fraugster story, which is about data. That is, if we think about payment data, I mean, I personally initially always thought, okay, this is just, I mean, it's massive, it touches everything, but it's very raw. You can't get much intelligence out of it. But I think you're thinking about this a bit differently, right?
Yeah, I would just slightly disagree with what you said. I think, I mean, our fundamental belief is that the e-commerce revolution starts with data, right? Because at the end, you can improve businesses a lot, yeah. And when I'm saying a lot, it's 10x, 20x, or 100x, just by analyzing the data. And have in mind, I mean, when we think about Facebook, Google, etc., they just understand everything till the checkout process. We understand what's in the checkout process, so we know exactly what are the spending behavior, etc., etc. And I think here you have the highest leverage to improve businesses. Obviously. For the customers that are coming to your web shop, right? That we don't have these bounce rates, but then also on the other hand, we can improve it. I mean, we just saw it at Black Friday, which was just a couple of days ago, and Black Friday is the business is 4 times bigger than the average, and what you see there is very interesting. I mean, people are buying 10 pens. Yeah, I mean, no one needs 10 pens, but and you know, okay, 7 out of the 10 will be sent back. So and I think this is an area where you can improve so significant because it just costs a lot of money.
Which is not only good for the bottom line, but actually coming back to sustainability. I mean, that's an angle, right? I would think.
Definitely. I mean, for sustainability, I mean, this is just one case, right? But I mean, this entire return management is crazy when you think about that. Some online shoppers, and I don't say or merchants, I don't mention any names, what kind of return rates they have. I mean, here you have to improve, and how we do things is, and also will and invest at the moment heavily into that, is to analyze the customer during the checkout process, and to tell also the merchant what exactly will the merchant buy and what he will keep and what he will send back, and then it's the merchant's decision what he wants to send out, right? So this is where we want to go as Fraugster, and that's the reason also why we're coming from a security space, but for us the intelligence behind the payment data is more important for us at the moment.
Which is really interesting because I mean, at least I thought when I think about these kind of questions that you think about CRM, you think about the shop solutions, but actually coming from the data angle and from the payment angle, you touch so many more transactions. So I guess, can you give a rough example how much data you process or how many transactions? I mean, there must be, or how to think about this.
I mean, we're not a public company, right? So, I mean, we have millions of transactions sometimes per day, right? That are going through the system, and this just gives the scale of the solutions, and then worldwide, right?
And how was the last 2 years? Let's just think back. I think the last time we both were at NOAH was 2 years ago, maybe even 3.
That's right. Yes. Yeah.
So how was this? I mean, we all know nobody can hear about COVID anymore, but I think your business specifically actually profited quite a bit. Or how do you view this overall?
I think yes and no, right? So I mean, in general, e-commerce is booming since then, right? So, but when we look back at the beginning of COVID, which was somewhere February, March, it was a nightmare, right? Nightmare for risk management, nightmare for e-commerce companies. I think the best industry was gaming by far, and I mean, these guys grew 20% month over month, right? So this was incredible. And then I think the first 2 months also typical retail, so all tangible goods, so fashion, consumer electronics, also suffered a little bit, yeah. So especially March, April, and May they came back. And the problem for us, or the challenge that we faced back in the days, was obviously we were heavily invested in travel. And if you think about airlines or hotel groups, they have no business at all. This was purely from a transactional level, was a challenge. But then also looking specifically in these industries, I mean, think about you are buying a plane ticket, right? And instead of getting your money back because they cancel all the flights, they give you a voucher. And what they will do is the customers will do a friendly chargeback. So they just call the bank and say, hey, I never booked this flight. And the problem is if you have the liability for payment transactions, it is quite expensive for some businesses. And but nevertheless, I mean, we supported our travel customers a lot and took also some risk from the balance sheet because that's our business, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And they will come back, right? They will come back, and overall, I mean, having this vision of data as the anchor for not just fraud management, but going way beyond, this is, I think, pretty unique to Fraugster. So where do you will go? What's the next thing for Fraugster?
Yeah, I think one very specific topic is obviously, I mean, we, as always at Fraugster, I mean, R&D is the center, and we will have way more data analytics tools, which are going live or are already live for some of our customers. And but then also on the fundraising side, I mean, this was a very important topic for us at Fraugster. I mean, we plan to have a new round in this half, next half, sorry. And yeah, that will be the exciting news, and keep you guys up to date here.
Can't wait to see it. Thanks.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Max and Oliver. It was great to have you. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.